Welcome to Passion Travel. Explore world street food, captivating vlogs, and inspiring journeys with us. Subscribe to experience adventure in every video. Frites, classic French fries, often served with various sauces like mayonnaise or ketchup. Here's how you can make classic French fries, frites, at home. Ingredients: potatoes, russet or Yukon Gold, are good choices. Vegetable oil or peanut oil for frying. Salt, to taste. Optional: ketchup, mayonnaise, or any other preferred dipping sauce. Instructions. Preparation. Peel the potatoes and rinse them under cold water to remove any dirt. Cut the potatoes into even-sized sticks, about 1/4 to half an inch thick. You can cut them thicker or thinner, depending on your preference. Soak the potato sticks in a bowl of cold water for about 30 minutes to remove excess starch. This will help make the fries crispier. Frying. Heat the oil in a deep fryer or a large pot to around 325 to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 163 to 177 degrees Celsius. Make sure you have enough oil to fully submerge the fries. Drain the soaked potato sticks and pat them dry with paper towels to remove excess moisture. Carefully add a handful of potato sticks to the hot oil, making sure not to overcrowd the fryer. Fry in batches if necessary. Fry the potatoes for about 3 to 4 minutes, or until they are cooked through but not yet browned. They should be tender but not falling apart. Remove the partially cooked fries from the oil using a slotted spoon or spider skimmer and transfer them to a paper towel-lined plate to drain. Double frying. Increase the heat of the oil to around 375 degrees Fahrenheit, 190 degrees Celsius. Once the oil is hot, carefully add the partially cooked fries back into the oil in batches. Fry the potatoes for an additional 2 to 3 minutes, or until they are golden brown and crispy. Again, remove the fries from the oil using a slotted spoon or spider skimmer and transfer them to a paper towel-lined plate to drain. Seasoning. While the fries are still hot, sprinkle them with salt to taste. You can also add any other seasonings you like, such as garlic powder, paprika, or herbs. Toss the fries gently to coat them evenly with the salt and seasonings. Serving. Serve the fries hot and crispy with your favorite dipping sauce, such as ketchup, mayonnaise, aioli, or vinegar. Beignets, deep-fried pastries often filled with fruit or chocolate. Here's a recipe for classic beignet, delicious deep-fried pastries. Ingredients: 1 cup lukewarm water. 2 1/4 teaspoons, 1 packet, active dry yeast. 1/4 cup, granulated sugar. 2 large eggs, beaten. 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. 1 teaspoon salt. Half a cup evaporated milk. 4 cups all-purpose flour. Vegetable oil, for frying. Powdered sugar, for dusting. Instructions. Activate the yeast. In a large mixing bowl, combine the lukewarm water and yeast. Let it sit for about 5 minutes until the yeast is dissolved and becomes frothy. Mix the dough. To the bowl with the activated yeast, add the granulated sugar, beaten eggs, vanilla extract, salt, and evaporated milk. Stir until well combined. Gradually add the flour to the wet ingredients, stirring continuously until a smooth dough forms. You may need to knead the dough lightly with your hands to fully incorporate the flour. Let the dough rise. Cover the bowl with plastic wrap or a clean kitchen towel and let the dough rise in a warm, draft-free place for about 1 to 1.5 hours, or until it has doubled in size. Shape the beignet. Once the dough has risen, punch it down to release the air. Turn it out onto a floured surface. Roll out the dough to about 1/4 inch thickness. Using a knife or pizza cutter, cut the dough into squares or rectangles, about 2 to 3 inches in size. Fry the beignet. In a large, deep pot or Dutch oven, heat vegetable oil to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 175 degrees Celsius over medium-high heat. Carefully add a few pieces of dough to the hot oil, being careful not to overcrowd the pot. Fry the beignet for about 2 to 3 minutes per side, or until they are golden brown and puffed up. Use a slotted spoon or spider skimmer to remove the fried beignet from the oil and transfer them to a paper towel-lined plate to drain. Repeat with the remaining dough. Serve. Once all the beignets are fried and drained, dust them generously with powdered sugar while they are still warm. Serve the beignets immediately, while they are fresh and warm. Baguettes, long, crusty French bread, often filled with ham, cheese, or other ingredients. Here's a recipe to make traditional French baguettes at home. Ingredients: 500 g, about 4 cups, bread flour. 10 g, about 2 teaspoons, salt. 7 g, about 2¼ teaspoons, instant yeast. 350 milliliters, about 1½ cups, lukewarm water. Instructions. Mixing the dough. In a large mixing bowl, combine the bread flour and salt. Make a well in the center of the flour mixture and add the instant yeast. Gradually pour the lukewarm water into the well while stirring with a wooden spoon or your hands until a rough dough forms. Kneading. Turn the dough out onto a lightly floured surface and knead it for about 10 to 15 minutes, or until it becomes smooth and elastic. You can also use a stand mixer with a dough hook attachment for this step. Shape the dough into a ball and place it back into the mixing bowl. Cover the bowl with a clean kitchen towel or plastic wrap and let the dough rise in a warm, draft-free place for about 1 to 2 hours, or until it doubles in size. Shaping the baguettes. Once the dough has doubled in size, punch it down to release the air. Turn the dough out onto a lightly floured surface and divide it into 3 equal portions for classic baguettes. Shape each portion into a long, slender loaf by gently stretching and rolling the dough with your hands. Taper the ends slightly to achieve the characteristic baguette shape. Place the shaped baguettes onto a parchment-lined baking sheet, leaving enough space between them for expansion. Proofing. Cover the shaped baguettes loosely with a clean kitchen towel and let them proof for about 30 to 45 minutes, or until they have doubled in size. Meanwhile, preheat your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, 230 degrees Celsius. Scoring. Just before baking, use a sharp knife or razor blade to make diagonal slashes, about 1/4 inch deep, along the top of each baguette. This helps the bread expand during baking and creates the classic baguette appearance. Baking. Place the proofed baguettes into the preheated oven and bake for 20 to 25 minutes, or until they are golden brown and sound hollow when tapped on the bottom. Remove the baguettes from the oven and transfer them to a wire rack to cool completely before slicing. Macarons, colorful almond-based cookies with various flavored fillings. Here's a recipe to make delicious French macarons at home. Ingredients. For the macaron shells: 120 g, about 1 cup, almond flour. 200 g, about 1¾ cups, powdered sugar. 100 g, about 3 large egg whites, aged, left at room temperature for 24 to 48 hours. 50 g, about 1/4 cup, granulated sugar. Gel food coloring, optional. For the filling. Your choice of filling, such as ganache, buttercream, jam, or curd. Instructions. Prepare baking sheets. Line 2 baking sheets with parchment paper or silicone baking mats. Set aside. Sift dry ingredients. In a bowl, sift together the almond flour and powdered sugar to ensure there are no lumps. Set aside. Whip egg whites. In a clean, dry mixing bowl, beat the egg whites on medium speed until foamy. Gradually add the granulated sugar, a little at a time, while continuing to beat. Increase the speed to high and beat until stiff peaks form and the meringue is glossy. If adding food coloring, add it at this stage and beat until combined. Fold dry ingredients. Gently fold the sifted almond flour and powdered sugar mixture into the beaten egg whites using a spatula. Be careful not to deflate the meringue. The batter should be thick and smooth, and should flow slowly off the spatula in ribbons. Pipe macaron shells. Transfer the batter to a piping bag fitted with a round tip, usually 1/2 inch in diameter. Pipe small circles, about 1 inch in diameter, onto the prepared baking sheets, leaving space between each shell. Tap the baking sheets firmly on the counter to release any air bubbles and help the macarons spread slightly. Resting. Let the piped macarons sit at room temperature for about 30 to 60 minutes, or until a thin, dry film forms on the surface. This helps develop a smooth shell and prevents cracking during baking. Preheat oven. While the macarons are resting, preheat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit 150 degrees Celsius. Bake. Once the macarons have developed a skin, place them in the preheated oven and bake for 15 to 18 minutes, or until the macarons are set and easily lift off the parchment paper. Cooling. Remove the macarons from the oven and let them cool completely on the baking sheets before attempting to remove them. Assemble. Once the macaron shells are cooled, pair them up based on size and shape. Pipe or spoon your desired filling onto the flat side of one shell, then sandwich it with another shell. Gently press the shells together to evenly distribute the filling. Storage. Store the assembled macarons in an airtight container in the refrigerator for 24 hours to allow the flavors to meld. Bring them to room temperature before serving for the best taste and texture. Enjoy. Serve and enjoy your homemade macarons. They make a delightful treat for any occasion. Croissants, buttery, flaky pastries perfect for breakfast or a quick snack. Here's a recipe for making classic French croissants at home. Ingredients. For the dough: 500 g, about 4 cups, all-purpose flour, plus extra for dusting. 10 g, about 2 1/4 teaspoons, instant yeast. 60 g, about 1/4 cup, granulated sugar. 10 g, about 2 teaspoons, salt. 250 milliliters, about 1 cup, cold milk. 120 milliliters, about half a cup, cold water. 250 g, about 1 cup, unsalted butter, cold. For the egg wash: 1 egg, beaten. Instructions. Prepare the dough. In a large mixing bowl, combine the flour, instant yeast, sugar, and salt. Mix well. Make a well in the center of the dry ingredients and pour in the cold milk and water. Mix until a shaggy dough forms. Turn the dough out onto a floured surface and knead it gently until smooth. Shape the dough into a rectangle, wrap it in plastic wrap, and refrigerate for 30 minutes. Prepare the butter block. While the dough is chilling, place the cold butter between 2 sheets of parchment paper or plastic wrap. Use a rolling pin to pound the butter into a rectangle about ½ inch thick. Chill the butter block in the refrigerator until firm. Laminate the dough. After the dough has chilled, remove it from the refrigerator and place it on a lightly floured surface. Roll out the dough into a large rectangle, about 1/4 inch thick. Place the chilled butter block in the center of the dough rectangle. Fold the sides of the dough over the butter block, enclosing it completely. Roll out the dough into a long rectangle, about 1/4 inch thick. Fold the dough into thirds like a letter, this is called a turn. Wrap the dough in plastic wrap and refrigerate for 30 minutes. Repeat this rolling and folding process 2 more times, for a total of 3 turns. Shape the croissants. After the final turn, roll out the dough into a large rectangle, about 1/4 inch thick. Use a sharp knife or pizza cutter to cut the dough into triangles. Starting from the wide end of each triangle, roll the dough up tightly to form croissants. Place the croissants on a parchment-lined baking sheet, with the tip of each croissant tucked underneath. Proofing. Cover the shaped croissants loosely with plastic wrap and let them proof at room temperature for about 1 to 2 hours, or until they double in size. Baking. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit 200 degrees Celsius. Brush the proofed croissants with beaten egg wash. Bake the croissants in the preheated oven for 15 to 20 minutes, or until they are golden brown and puffed up. Cooling. Remove the baked croissants from the oven and let them cool on a wire rack for a few minutes before serving.